Hello and welcome back to Too Lazy to Read, the show where we read the books that stare directly into your soul and then ask why your instincts are living in a basement. I'm Nigel.
And I'm Clara. And today we are doing something a little different, because this is not a novel, it is not a tidy argument, and it is definitely not a breezy airport self-help book that tells you to hydrate and manifest.
Today we are walking into Clarissa Pinkola Estés' Women Who Run with the Wolves, which is part myth collection, part Jungian psychology, part spiritual field manual, part storyteller's fire circle, and part very loving but very firm intervention for women whose souls are being starved by life.
Which means we are not following one plot from beginning to end. We are following a big idea through story after story. The idea of what Estés calls the Wild Woman Archetype.
Exactly. And before anyone gets nervous about the word archetype, let's translate it into ordinary English. When Estés says archetype, she means a deep old pattern in the human psyche, a buried blueprint, a recurring inner force, not a personality quiz result. Not, I'm a moon witch raven empath with rising boundaries.
Though I do feel someone online has definitely put that on a tote bag.
Undoubtedly. But in this book, Wild Woman means the instinctive, creative, soulful, knowing part of a woman. The part that senses danger, loves deeply, creates bravely, protects what matters, knows when something is wrong and does not need a committee to approve her inner life before it can exist.
Or to simplify further, the part of you that knows. The part that smells nonsense before your polite social self has finished saying, well, maybe I'm overreacting.
Perfect. And Estés says that this wild, instinctive nature has been damaged, suppressed, mocked, over-domesticated and sometimes spiritually bulldozed by culture. So the whole book asks, how do women recover that part of themselves? Her answer is, through stories. Myths, fairy tales, folklore, old images that still know what the modern world forgot.
Which is why the book feels less like a neat lecture, and more like being handed a basket of bones, dolls, wolves, hags, sealskins, dead brides, haunted rivers, and one very urgent message. Right. Build yourself back.
That is, frankly, the experience.
Also, fair warning, this book repeats ideas on purpose. It chants them. It circles them. It worries them like a dog with a sock. That is not bad writing. That is the method. Estés is trying to get certain truths past your defenses and into your bones.
Beautifully said. So let us begin with the introduction, because it matters. Estés opens by arguing that wildlife and wild woman are both endangered species. She links the destruction of actual wilderness to the loss of inner wilderness. Wolves, wildlands, old women, deep instinct, feminine knowing, all of these have been treated like inconvenient resources by cultures that prefer control.
Very rude of civilization, honestly.
Very. She explains that healthy wolves and healthy women have similar qualities: intuition, loyalty, fierce devotion, adaptability, endurance, playful spirit, concern for the young, deep connection to pack and territory. But both wolves and women have been slandered as dangerous, excessive, untrustworthy, or predatory, when in fact much of the real predation came from those trying to control them.
So the book is already saying, notice who got called dangerous, and then notice who was actually doing the hunting.
Exactly. Estés also gives us her own background here. She describes herself as a Jungian analyst, poet, and cantadora, a keeper of stories, shaped by Mexican, Spanish, Hungarian, and other oral traditions by nature, by women who told stories as healing labor, not a hobby. She explains that she sees story as medicine, not cute decoration, medicine.
Which is one of the book's main refrains. Stories do not just entertain. They diagnose, guide, warn, and revive.
Yes. And she also defines what happens when a woman loses contact with the wild, instinctive self. She becomes dry, exhausted, numbed, over-pleasing, blocked, over-domesticated, chronically doubtful, unable to set limits,